Healing minds, inspiring voices, living truth, making choices. This is your space. Just be you, authentically peculiar with Marcia. Welcome to a space where healing is real, where your voice matters and your truth is enough. With authentically peculiar. Season 5, the year of expansion, healing deeper, living louder, stepping fully into who you are. Authentically Peculiar with Marcia.
Welcome back to Authentically Peculiar with Marcia. Happy Mother's Day. I'm excited to deliver this message to all the mothers who have found themselves being a nurturer, being a lover, someone that pours into others, someone that sacrifices, and someone that shows up. Even if you have not physically given birth, I'm certain as a woman, you've met those categories and you've nurtured others along the journey. So happy Mother's Day. Today, I want to honor you. I want you also to be free as a mother because somewhere along the way, many women were taught subtly or directly that becoming a mother meant becoming less of themselves. And that is not what motherhood is about. It's not becoming less. It's extending who you are to those that you have been entrusted with to love, to nurture, to pour into, and sometimes sacrifice for. Being a mother is just an extension of who you are. It is not the sum total of who you are. It is not a life sentence where you have to forget yourself, where you can't make decisions that make you happy for yourself. It is becoming the person as an extension that's inside of you. Oftentimes, as mothers, we become so consumed, or as women, we become so consumed with the ideal of being a mother that we forget to be a person. And then, as our children get older and we start going through that empty nesting stage, we've lost our identity. We've lost who we truly are. And then we find ourselves scrambling with frustration and irritability because it's like nobody really needs us. But you sacrifice as a mother, but it should have never erased you. It should have never taken you to a place where you were questioning your existence. So let me sip this coffee as we get into being a mother, right? Let's talk about what often goes unspoken as a mother. Those invisible shifts of things that happen when you become a mother. Suddenly, your needs become negotiable. Your rest becomes optional and your identity becomes secondary. And that should not be the case. And over time, she forgot her name. You forgot your name. And you were only known as mother, as aunt, as grandmother, as sister. You were only known by your role. Somebody's mom, somebody's wife or significant other, somebody's everything. While those roles are meaningful, they can also be consuming, consuming all parts of who you are and pressing down your personal identity. While these roles are meaningful, they don't have to be consuming. If you're not careful in the role of a mother, one day you'll wake up and realize, I don't even know who I am without my titles, without being acknowledged as a mother, without understanding my value that I bring other than this role as a mother. And when that realization comes in, it can be scary. It can feel extremely heavy. You can even feel the grief from it. I see so many mothers who are struggling to stay very present in their adult children's lives as their children are learning to navigate life for themselves. And it becomes a struggle because children often want to make sure that they are respecting their mother. This necklace, I'm sorry, that's OCD. Often want to make sure that they are respecting their mother, but they want to get their lives as well. And they don't know how to gently say, Mom, I need some space to get to know who I am. So let's just sit in that moment of what grief as a nurturer, as a pusher, as a provider, as a sacrificer is. Because losing parts of yourself, even in the name of love, as a mother, as a wife, as a sibling, it's still a loss. Losing that part of yourself causes a lot of mothers to grieve silently. The versions of themselves that they used to be, the dreams that were put on hold, they pause them, the freedom that they no longer feel, the identity that they never had the space to explore and develop. And oftentimes, as we've gotten older in that motherhood journey, we forget to go back and recapture ourselves. Here's the truth about what we don't say enough. You can love your children deeply and still miss yourself. Both can exist and both can be true at the same time. You can be grateful for motherhood and still feel like parts of you have gone quiet, silent, unsupported, unseen, unfelt. That doesn't make you a bad mother. That makes you human. I remember raising my children as a young single mother with very little support and my desire to go back to school and finish what I started in 1986. But I had to choose the route of motherhood and being the provider and the protector and all of those things until my youngest daughter was in high school. And I decided I can go back safely, knowing that she'd be safe and cared for. My kids encouraged me to go back and reclaim that part of me that was left sitting on the table. And that really helped to have their support, to have their encouragement, and to have the opportunity to be very present on that journey made it so much easier. Was it challenging? It was challenging because oftentimes, especially since my youngest daughter was the only one at home, having to leave her by herself, trying to navigate life for herself, especially during a time when she had lost her father. I did feel a little guilty reclaiming those times for me, but I also learned to balance the importance of being present and available for her and all my kids, as well as for myself. Because one thing that I realized is I didn't know Marcia anymore. I knew the struggler. I knew the provider. I knew the nurturer. I knew the one that was going to be in protective mode. I knew the lioness, but I didn't know who Marcia was. And I had to learn how to live in a very tough style of functioning as a part of survival. And I am even now getting back to the place where even though I have a lot of leadership abilities and clear thinking and vision and things of that nature. I still have learned to soften my face, to soften my presence, to soften my existence, not for anyone else, not to attract anyone else, but for me. because that feels comfortable with me. So the healing begins when you begin to reclaim yourself. And reclaiming yourself doesn't mean that you're abandoning your children. It doesn't mean you're abandoning the life that you know. It means you're returning to yourself and restructuring how life envelops and develops around you. It means asking, who am I beyond what I get? What do I actually enjoy when I'm not responsible for anyone else? And what parts of me have I silenced to survive this role? And gently, without pressure, without guilt, you begin to reintroduce yourself. Let me divert for just a moment and tell you a little bit about my own mother. My mother, if for those that don't know, um, was a sharecropper's daughter, the oldest. She had to leave school very early in her life to help work the fields and to care for her younger siblings and to care for her mother, even when her father was absent due to alcoholism, streets calling him the whole 9 yards. She lost her identity as an individual very early. My mother spent her entire life caring for others constantly. That's all she knew. And at the latter end of her life, I remember having a conversation with her, talking about how she should be able to enjoy retirement and traveling and things of that nature. And my mother said something to me in that moment that it didn't really click at that time. But as I have adjusted to her not being physically here anymore, I'm learning to recount some of those stories. And what she said to me is, I don't know why I'm still here because nobody really needs me anymore. And while I felt empathy for her at that moment, I didn't understand the gravity of what she was saying. I didn't understand how she didn't have her own identity and there was no more fight. I often say that because my mother passed suddenly out of the blue, I mean, nobody was prepared for her to pass so suddenly. And I often tell people when they say, well, what happened with her? Well, medically, they couldn't really find anything other than she had an infection in her intestines. But I believe that my mother was so interwoven with being needed and she didn't have that identity. And once she had to give her dog away, the last living specimen that needed her, she didn't have anything else to give. And that breaks my heart to know that because there was so much of her that the world needed to experience. And so I share that with you all to have you to really go in and check yourself. Have you become so consumed with being everything to everybody else that you've lost you? And when you're not needed, how do you respond? Do you feel empty? Do you feel rejected? Do you feel abandoned? Maybe let's take a look. Take some time and sit in a space of silence and kind of recount who you are, answering those questions. Who am I beyond what I give? Who am I when no one else needs me in that moment? What parts of me don't I recognize because they've been silenced? Reconnect with the one person that has loved you unconditionally your whole life. That's you. Even when you made decisions that may have caused hurt to yourself, even when you may have abandoned your own truth, reconnect with her. Reconnect with that side of you that needs a listening ear. Reconnect that side of you that can sometimes just walk up and give yourself an amazing hug and just breathe in it. Reconnect with saying no with over explaining as you're on this journey of finding yourself. Give yourself that permission to rest in the journey of who you are becoming as you, without your titles, without your roles, without being loud or boisterous or needing validation to do so. Reclamation is not loud. It's not performative. Sometimes it's as simple as saying, I matter too. Understanding that you do matter to yourself first. Because here's what we know. People will treat you the way they see you treat yourself. If you are not treating yourself with love and kindness and acceptance, people feel like they can treat you that same way. You've got to start honoring yourself and be in your truth on how we treat you. So let's shift the narrative a little bit. Motherhood is not meant to be your entire identity. It is meant to be a part of your expression. Because when a woman is whole, she mothers from overflow, not depletion. Let me say that again. When a woman is whole, she mothers from overflow and not depletion. A depleted mother is easily irritated. A depleted mother is often sad, depressed, and wrecked with anxiety. A depleted mother often subjects herself to negative thoughts and conversations about herself. We need you to not be depleted. We need you to change and become your whole self, connected to yourself, connected to your own identity so that you can model your identity of sacrifice is not the way. You don't have to suffer through sacrifice. It's kind of like the ideology that we have to suffer here on this planet so that when we can get to heaven, we'll have a good life. No, you can have a good, happy, enjoyable life right here on this planet. You can choose you and all the things that you do. You can accept and acknowledge you. You can meet you where you are. You don't have to sacrifice. You don't have to suffer in your sacrifices. There are going to be some sacrifices. So let me say it this way. There are going to be some sacrifices. There were times where my money was really, really funny and I had to choose how to feed my children. So oftentimes I would make sure that they had the best meals to eat. And I would go to bed with a bowl of cereal because I needed to make sure that they were full. Those were the sacrifices that I chose to make when I chose to become a mother. Did I suffer? No, because I didn't go to bed hungry. I went to bed not having what they had to eat, but that was okay with me because that was a sacrifice that I made. That was something that I chose to do. When you honor your own needs, when you honor who you are, you teach your children and others how to honor you. My kids often laugh and be like, man, we don't ever know what to get you for your birthday and for Mother's Day and any other special occasion because you always get it. When I was growing up, I experienced lack. I experienced not having the things that I desired. I had the things that I needed, but some of the things that I desired, that it just wasn't part of the budget. So when I desire something within reason, now I'm not going to go and put things on layaway in the sense of spending, $1,500 to $3,000 on a handbag, because that's just not my thing. That's some people's things, and I'm not knocking that, but that's not my thing. Now, if you ask me if I'm gonna spend some money on some gadgets and a computer and things like that, I'll do that. Still won't put it on layaway, but if it's something that I desire that I need because it's something that I want, then I'm going to honor myself with that without seeking any validation, without asking for it. Now, every now and then I'll think of something that I want my kids to get. Because when they want to honor you naturally, not out of obligation, find a way for them to honor you because they are not obligated. They're choosing to honor you in all the things that they're doing. So give them the room and the space to do that. So one of the things when you are honoring yourself and taking care of yourself, you need to be asking yourself, how can I remain whole when I give? When you're a part of your children's life or part of your grandchildren's life or even caregiving to your parents or being supportive to your siblings, how can I honor me in this space of giving without it feeling like I'm obligated? That is the thing that we really need to move into, removing that space of obligation to do things, because then we have regrets. Don't live with those spaces of regrets. So right now, I want you to just take a breath with me. So take that deep breath in and slowly exhale that breath. I want you to let these words settle in your spirit. I am more than the roles that I carry. I do not have to lose myself to love others. My identity is allowed to evolve. I am worthy of rest, joy, and rediscovery. I can be present as a mother and whole as a woman. I can be present as a mother and whole as a woman. Let that resonate within your soul. Let it resonate within your space of existence. You don't have to rush this moment. You don't even have to wait for the children to come and celebrate you for Mother's Day. You can celebrate yourself. Take a moment, do an inventory of all that you've done as a mother, the sacrifices that you've made, the mistakes that you've made, the healing journey that you go through. I know right now, and I just completed the Mother's Wounds masterclass, helping daughters and mothers to try to reconcile their relationship, understanding that the mother had a story too. And unfortunately, with countertransference and transference, a mother's state of irritability, frustration, and even her childhood that is unlearned and unhealed can then be passed on to her children. I want to stop for a moment and remind mothers that becoming a mother is not a perfect situation. We have to unlearn situations from our own mothers. We have to relearn our thoughts, our understandings, our self-acceptance, our empowerment. We have to apologize and take accountability. It's okay to say, well, I did the best that I could, which is something that a lot of mothers say when children come to them and express hurt and concern and pain, not getting the things that they needed. But beyond saying, I did the best that I could, begin to say, I do apologize for where I was in the moment. The things that you needed from me, I didn't know how to give it to myself, and I didn't know how to give it to you. And your feelings are valid. Mothers, please stop taking what your children say to you as an attack on you. Even if their delivery is harsh, you can simply say, I hear you. Can we identify a way to redeliver that? I'm not knocking what your experience was. I'm not trying to get you to shift your mindset about what your experience was. I'm still human, and I still have made decisions and sacrifices that put you where you are now. And even in my wrong decisions, my messed up sacrifices, or even my lack of acknowledgement in my younger years, it still help set a foundation for you. Even in your desire to not want to be like me, you had to experience me to even say that. So I take accountability as a mother for my actions. And I probably get on my kids' nerves because I will follow up and say, hey, I just had a thought about a certain situation. How does that show up for you now? And I often hear you're overthinking, mom, kind of let it go. It's okay. We're okay. But at the same time, every now and then, if we bump heads, things will come out. And I do like to address them because I need them to know that even in the midst of me offering and giving them the best that I knew to give at that time, I am still in a state of awareness and accountability for me to change the things that I do. My youngest daughter told her children, the Tootie that you get now was not the mother that I got when I was growing up. And that couldn't be a truer statement because I am not under the same pressure as a single parent. I am not in hustle mode. I am not in that state of existence where I just absolutely have to be on grind mode. I can be more relaxed. I can be more soft. I can show more care, more compassion in this state of my existence. And I take that into consideration when I'm involved with my grandchildren, because my children didn't get the person there, they get the opportunity to meet. So I want to remind you all as mothers, today we celebrate you. We celebrate the healed part of you, the sacrifice, even the parts that are afraid, the empty nester, the person that you're becoming aware of and becoming and rebuilding an identity with. We celebrate you. We celebrate and acknowledge you for the work that you've put in, even if things didn't always go the way that you wanted them to go. We celebrate that part of you. We celebrate your beauty. We celebrate your compassion. We celebrate your love. Celebrate it within yourself. Love on you today, speaking words of encouragement, speaking words of life back to yourself. As we celebrate you, we honor you, the woman, the whole woman, not just the extensive part of you as a mother. We celebrate the one who existed before you became a mother. We celebrate the one who is still becoming whole and healed, accountable and accessible. We celebrate the one who deserves to be seen beyond what you give, because you are not just what you do. You are who you are, even when no one else is calling your name, even when you're in spaces where nobody needs you. We're celebrating you. And that version of you deserves all the attention in the world. So today, thank you for spending time with me for Mother's Day. If this message has touched you, please share it with another mother who has to be reminded that it's okay to find your own identity. Now, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow to Authentically Peculiar with Marcia on YouTube, Spotify, and all streaming apps. You want to give yourself permission to stand. And if you want to go on a deeper healing journey, check out marciablane.com. Stay authentic, stay peculiar. And after you recover from losing yourself, never, ever again abandon who you are in the sake of becoming what the world convinced you you're supposed to be. Take good care, and I'll see you on the next episode of Authentically Peculiar with Marcia. Thank you for sharing time and space with us today on Authentically Peculiar with Marcia. Don't forget to like, comment, and share the podcast with everyone that you know. In addition, go out and support each of the guests and their own social platforms buy their products, leave them a comment. We'll see you on the next episode of Authentically Peculiar with Marcia.